And finally, Chancellor, I present to you one candidate in the Faculty of Social Sciences and Health to be admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Hayley Claire German, Euston College.
Graduates, would you please rise for the conferment of your degrees? By the authority of the university, I admit all the candidates presented at this congregation to the degrees for which they are qualified.
Mr. Chancellor, some candidates cannot attend these ceremonies. I certify that those whose names are recorded have satisfied all the requirements of the university. I make application to you to confer their awards, and I stand as proxy for them.
By the authority of the university, I admit these candidates to the degrees for which they are qualified. When I came here a few days ago for this congregation, which is of course my first as Chancellor of Durham University, a thought struck me. I left London using the appropriate mainline terminus, which was of course King's Cross, famous to monopoly players the world over. Such is the fantasy world I seem to have inhabited these past few months, that since hearing of my appointment, that for a moment I pondered on the idea of my train leaving perhaps from that magical platform 9 3/4 by way of a service called Hogwarts Express. Potter H on his first exciting day at school. That was me. I've started to see myself as the action hero of some serial children's author. And just at the moment, Seaham Harbour, the town in which I was born just 12 miles from here, seems galaxies away. And all that has come about by way of travel and as the result of almost constant journeying. I have to tell you, I've had a most interesting and mostly lovely time arriving at this point. Almost every day has brought new surprises, new challenges, some good, some challenging. I'm beginning to discover that in this brand new role, there are once again daily surprises. At this stage, I'm only able to guess at the challenges that may lie ahead of me as your Chancellor, and the biggest is surely for me to determine the best way in which I can serve the university with the rather specialized skills that I possess. For a brief period, I was thrilled to see what interest news of my forthcoming chancellorship had aroused on the world stage, until I awoke to the realization that a man called George Osborne seemed to have got there ahead of me. As to his fitness for task, well, I'll leave that until I feel rather safer on my ground. I take heart, however, in the comforting thought that my professional life thus far has prepared me well for the ceremonial aspect of my role here and the fabulous roles that accompany it. I should have said robes, of course. The fabulous robes that accompany it. Roles is a sort of possessive quality of the other part of my life, for which Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Lorenzo da Ponte are part responsible, creating the need for flowing gowns and riding breeches for their Marriage of Figaro, and their Don Giovanni taught me the swagger and swirl of cloak and dagger work. Broad shoulders and a penetrating voice, prerequisites on all occasions. But that was only the Vorspiel. Life came truly to fruition thanks to the man who is to brevity what Genghis Khan is to petit point embroidery. I refer, of course, to Richard Wagner. There was young Wolfram alongside Tannhäuser bearing his great burden, to say nothing of a rather cumbersome harp. First prize, however, goes to those lengthy evenings amongst the guild of men who are the master singers of Nuremberg, and the 6 hours or so of playing drama and comedy under the weightiest of pelts, felts, and the heaviest of songs. How could I possibly have known in all those years that the swirling and swishing of cloaks, all the swashing and buckling I practiced and perfected with foil and saber was mere rehearsal for the main event beginning here today in this great church? This cathedral, this university, have played significant roles in my life. I am the perfect example of that cliché, the boy being taken out of the North, but the North never out of the boy. I'm very well aware that whatever eminence I may enjoy in my life as a singer, it's work in a very specialized and rarefied field. Inevitably, that means few of us achieve single name recognition, such as Pavarotti, Caruso, Callas, or Beckham. That's not a problem. It's the nature of working in an environment and a department of music seldom featured in the headlines of the entertainment sections of our press. But press acclaim of that sort is not what a life like mine is about. In 1963, I began a long trek towards being what I am today by walking up Sadler Street to the music school, just a few short yards from the north door of this cathedral, where I sang for Arthur Hutchings, then professor of music at this university. It wasn't exactly a Damascene moment, but he did help me pave the way towards a music training, and so that long journey to find my voice began. I'm happy to say that it continues to this day. I could never have imagined in 100 years what kind of life lay before me. The learning of songs and repertoire that has built to a vast library, the auditioning leading to a number of successes and a few disappointments. What strikes me most on reflection is the almost miraculous results that can accrue from serious application to one's chosen discipline. I was curious then to find out as much as I could at the start, and my curiosity has never waned. And here a brief digression for the north and south transepts, for the students in those places. It's the principal quality, that curiosity, is what I look for in students that I encounter. And I would urge you all to go from here and always have curiosity. Never let curiosity die within you. It is the most important factor in your life as far as I'm concerned. And yes, Seaham does seem a long way away, 12 miles, but in fact it's right at the heart of me. I'm reminded of my northernness at the oddest of times. In Buenos Aires, for example, some years ago, having completed an operatic assignment over a couple of months, I got into a conversation with a young Argentinian businessman just a couple of hours before I was due to catch a flight home. "Where are you from?" That's my Argentinian accent. "Where are you from?" he asked. And I said in my northeast England, near Newcastle, Sunderland. "Ah, what a pity you are leaving," says he. "Next time you will come, I will take you to all the Geordie pubs in Buenos Aires." I was a bit surprised at that. But the Welsh Patagonia diaspora is, of course, well documented. So I suppose I shouldn't have been too surprised at the news, knowing only too well how hair-trigger fast a response is produced when Geordies far from home hear the familiar strains of their motherland. I've lived for many years now in the south of England, sadly, and that's no doubt played a part in making me the person I am today. But I can reassure you, should you need it, that northeasternness runs uppermost in my veins and is daily reinforced with every moment I spend on this almost island in the River Wear. I've trodden Stevenson's upward and downward slope for 40 years in the pursuit of singing and the art form that has been my life. There have been many great cities on those travels, and I think of their centers of learning, of culture, of government: Munich, Cologne, Paris, New York, Chicago, Milan. Beautiful, wonderful, impressive. And yet none of them, and I speak totally dispassionately and objectively here, none of them possess that unique factor that causes a gasp of breath as once again 2 days ago, Hogwarts Express pulled into the station up there on the hill. That's real magic, Harry Potter. The first sight of this building with its great cliffs of Norman granite, moated almost by its river, cushioned all around by the wonderful institution that is Durham University, asked what the place meant to me when I was here some years ago, I had to say that the cathedral seemed to cause things to happen around it by virtue of its immense presence. It exerts an influence, a power. It hums like a great dynamo. Its stored knowledge and history inspire work of the highest order still. I'm here today for my debut in a new role. I wait expectantly in the wings, as on so many occasions in the past. I'm probably more nervous than for most of those, but before I step out into the roar of the arena, I have this chance to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me the honor and privilege of holding this role. You have made me and my family immensely proud. I shall do everything I can to give you a memorable performance. Thank you. Mayors, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, this congregation is now concluded.
Okay. Where the Chinese? Chinese coming!
Hi! From Nigeria!
The very fact that you did that already told us where you're from, so don't worry about it. You people already announced it. How did you guys manage the deal?
You see people like this. I got fall down.
I salute all of you people.
Hello. You're famous.
Yeah.
Smile at all of the cameras.
Congratulations.
2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3.
Did you do a maths degree?
Yeah. Okay. It's nothing. Thanks, love. Wait, but where am I? Sei krastawiczka.
Hi.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Vale.
Lo devo iniziare. Grazie, piacere. Ciao. You did a wise thing.
Too excited.
You look like an Arctic explorer. What did you say?